This is Eric from Pack Hacker, and today we're taking a look at the Matador SEG28, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. If you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe so we can continue making content like this to help you travel smarter. Let's dive in. So the materials on this pack for the most part are Blue Sign approved. The primary packing materials that we've got to work with are 420D nylon reinforced ripstop, which is this bottom part here, and then the upper is the 420D recycled nylon. So you get just regular nylon and then the ripstop in the high wear areas on the bottom that are maybe, going to get a little bit more, bumping around and stuff like that. I think that this also adds a nice contrast with this mostly black pack. We have, a little bit of white, and the white zipper pulls on the main compartment do that a bit too. So we've got YKK zippers throughout on the exterior. These are all AquaGuard zippers, all of them, from the front compartment there to these top compartments and the main compartment. We've got all AquaGuard, so that's going to give you a little bit of extra water protection from water. The materials do a pretty good job at keeping water out, pretty durable too, very lightweight, but then these zippers give you a little bit of extra help from, if it's raining or something like that, you don't want any water sneaking in these compartments. The zippers also have these little locking tabs, which you can see I'm currently not using, but you can put the zipper underneath there, and then it's a little bit harder for someone to just open it and go. They kind of have to loop it through. Just a deterrent. It's not going to stop someone from getting inside. One thing to note is that these materials are very lightweight, so depending how you have it packed, they can sag a little bit, which is kind of a bit of a joke in the office because it's called the SEG, so it's a little bit saggy, S-SEG, just a little bit of a goofy joke we've been saying around the office. But overall, pretty happy with those materials. They do just tend to sag a little bit. They're very lightweight, which is helpful when you're carrying this thing all day long. So when it comes to hardware, the hard plastic hardware is from YKK as well. YKK is not necessarily known as much for their hardware, but this works as you'd expect it to. Nothing to really report there. We've got handles on 3 sides. You've got a handle over here, handle on the bottom, and another handle right here. So those are nice for grabbing it, like if you're in the hotel room and moving it around, or like grabbing out of the overhead bin. Then we also have another top handle up here, which is good for like hanging it up, and just nice to have one on the back as well, in addition to these ones that are on the front. We've got compression straps on each side. So we've got 2 on this side. You can really cinch it down and, save some space if you really are worried about space, if you need to get it inside of one of those sliders. 2 more on this side as well. Water bottle pocket here. This does not fit my personal water bottle, which is a 32-ounce Nalgene, but most other bottles fit. You can also use this compression strap to attach something taller inside of there. Then we have these little Hypalon tabs here as well, which are helpful for hanging it, and you can also put a strap on there if you wanted to. So when it comes to the harness system, this is all one big piece. It's all connected here. There's no attachment like bridges or anything like that, which I know some people like, some people don't. I'm a fan of it because there's nothing that can really pinch you or get in the way or anything like that, and there's not as much to adjust either. But it is very densely padded. It's not super cushy padding. This is pretty stiff stuff, and I like that for maybe if you're taking a shorter trip, it might feel like overkill, but if you're wearing this thing all day, I think you're going to be happy it's there because it's pretty comfortable. Then we also have the mesh, which promotes airflow. This thing stays pretty cool. On a super hot day, you are going to sweat a little bit, but overall, I think it does pretty well for especially the size of this backpack. But on the shoulder straps themselves, we have these little loops you can attach things to, carabiner, sunglasses, whatever. We have a sternum strap here that is on a rail, so you can slide it up and down, get those micro adjustments that are perfect to your liking. And then we also have down here a hip belt. As you can see, not much padding or anything like that on it, just a pretty basic hip belt, but it does help you move that weight around. And again, if you're wearing this thing all day, this can be very helpful. This is removable. You can take it off if you don't want to use it. I know some folks just aren't a fan of them no matter what the conditions are, so you can take it off if you don't want to use it. And one more thing, we do have a luggage pass-through here. So there's hook and loop fasteners here on either side. So you can use this as on top of your rolling luggage. And I like that because you really don't even know it's there unless you looked it up or you read the packaging really well, or you're just kind of messing around with it. So it stays out of your way if you don't want to use it. I personally don't use it, but tested it with some rolling luggage in the office. and it does operate as you'd expect it to. So this is how I wore this backpack, typically without the sternum strap attached. I like, or hooked up I should say, it is still on there. And I like just having the option, because sometimes like after work I like to go for a walk or something like that, and sometimes when I go for a walk I like to wear the pack that I'm testing just to give it a test doing a longer walk. And after a while I did find that I wanted to put this on, and it's not the most flattering looking hip belt in my opinion, especially if you're wearing a bigger shirt like this, but it really does help shift that weight around, especially when you cinch it down. But it's just nice to have it, at least in my opinion. This harness system does feel like a lot if you're not going on a long journey, but when you do go on that longer trip, and if you have to wear it all day like you have, you have to check out and your flight isn't, for another 8 hours, and you have to wear this thing all day, it is very comfortable, and you'll be happy that it is so, over the top a little bit feeling, at least when you put it on. So this is called the SEG because it is very segmented, and as you can see, there are lots of zippers here on the front, and those are the different segments of the pack. So these are meant to take place of your packing cubes or other organizers. You don't necessarily have to use them, or you can kind of use them partially and then use the main compartment as well, which is kind of what I'm doing right now. And I'll explain that a little bit. So we've got 4 different segments here. We've got segment 1, which is 4 liters, segment 2, which is 6 liters, segment 3, which is 8 liters, and then segment 4, which is 10 liters. So you might be wondering where all of that space comes from. And so all of these add up to 28 liters. This is a 28 liter backpack. So if you use these to their complete capacity, you really stuff them full, you're not gonna have any room or very, very minimal room left in the main compartment when you open it up. So it's kind of a little bit of give and take. Like if you have to bring a larger item that doesn't fit inside of these, you're gonna need to adjust accordingly. And typically if I'm bringing a bigger item, it's gonna go on the bottom of my pack. So I have a larger item in here right now, so I can't really use this 10 liter one on the bottom because I have a larger item in the bottom. So I know it's a little bit confusing, but I think it's a unique design for people who aren't necessarily going to be using packing cubes and stuff inside the main compartment, which we will get inside in a little bit. But these segmented areas are helpful. So just in this top one here right now, I have a large sweatshirt. So if you do like to bring a large sweatshirt, these are nice. You can stuff like one of them full with a big sweatshirt, or a flannel, maybe even a coat, depending on the size of your coat. And to just give you a good size, a good look at what this. So this is a 6 liter one here, and I've got 2 of these packing cubes that we often use inside of here. So ideally, you would not need to use packing cubes, but I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of, we use these packing cubes all the time. If you watch this channel, you've seen these. And if you really like packing cubes, you still could use them, but the point is to get rid of those and just stuff your clothes inside of here. But I don't have anything inside of these lower 2 because the main compartment is kind of full in those areas, so there wasn't any space for this liner. So we're gonna move on to some other secondary compartments, and then we'll move on to the main compartment, and you'll see why exactly that is. So let me flip this over really quick. We're gonna take a U-turn, I guess. And let me see, is this the right size? Yep, so inside of here, we have a little passport compartment. So just beyond the hook and loop fastener, there is a passport compartment right here. So I really like that because it's got an extra layer of security. Not only is it hidden, but it's also behind this hook and loop fastener. So someone's gonna have to know that that's there to get inside there and try and take your passport. So I really dig that. It's out of the way. Again, if you don't wanna use it, you don't have to, which is what I like about a lot of the features on this pack. So up here we have a quick access compartment. So inside of here right now, I've just got, it's kind of stuck in there. Let me yank it out. Is a packable rain jacket. And then on the back here, we have this little zippered mesh pocket. So that does stretch, so you can fit some extra gear inside of there. I have my phone and my wallet stowed inside there, so they're safekeeping in there. We have a daisy chain up here of elastic loops. So you could, if you don't have that much tech and you don't want to bring a tech pouch, you could probably just put your cables and your wall charger in there. That's just depending on what you're bringing. If you like to bring more tech, that might just be for the cables and the charger you're going to use on the plane or something like that. And we also have a key leash inside of here as well, just a small little clip one. So nice little quick access compartment. Behind that, we have the laptop compartment. Got my 15-inch MacBook Pro in there, and I do have this pack pretty full right now, so it is, kind of hard to get it in and out of there, and you can't fit much bigger than that. So depending on the profile of your laptop, you might not be able to fit larger than my 15-inch MacBook in there. Pretty ample padding on the back side here, and then not a ton of padding on this side, but If you pack smart, you don't really have to worry about using a case, but you can always put a case on there as well, depending on the size of your laptop. So now there isn't as much stuff inside of there, you can kind of see the sagginess that I was talking about. And it's really only when you pack it particular ways, or like if you have heavy stuff in the top, or it just can sag a little bit sometimes. So let me open up the main compartment here so I can talk to you more about these segmented areas. So when you pop this open, you can see these are the different the liner from the segmented areas on the front of the pack. So I've still got that sweater in here. I left it in there so you can kind of see what it's like when it gets kind of bulky and why you don't have as much room in the main compartment when you use these. So you have a couple different areas you can grab onto here, or even maybe hook things on here if you'd like to. But you see, if I were to have a bunch of stuff inside of here, I wouldn't be able to use this bottom part of this compartment. So you see how I have a camera cube inside of here right now. It's actually a backpack, camera cube that turns into a backpack. And I wouldn't be able to use this space because I want to put this inside the bag. So depending on how you travel, and if you do bring larger things like this to put inside your pack, I suppose you could maybe put that inside of here, but that just doesn't really work in my head for me personally as a traveler. So basically right now, this one is kind of not usable. I could probably sneak some stuff inside of here, but I'm still hitting that. Let me get you in the view real quick. I'm still hitting that camera cube about right here. So it really just depends how you pack and what you're packing. So if you don't have any large items like that, not a huge deal. But when you do have bigger items like this, it can cause you some problems. So just taking more of my items out here so I can show you the main compartment. There is no organization inside of here. It's just kind of, a big open area. And that makes sense because all the organization is right here. If you want org, you use these. If you don't want org, you just stuff stuff inside of this main compartment. So as you can see, I'm kind of using both right now. I had some stuff stowed in these, and then I had some stuff stowed in the main compartment, and that's how I like to use this pack. And for me, I don't know whether that's worth it, but if I was someone who is going to use this organization up here more, I think this is a very innovative pack, and it's a one-stop shop. You can put everything, there's a home for everything inside this pack. Maybe not your tech, depending how much tech you bring. You might still need to bring a tech pouch or something like that. But overall, very happy with the organization of this thing. I think it's a very unique design. The materials are great, Blue Sign approved materials, which is great for sustainability. And I think it looks pretty rad too. It just depends on if you like to bring your own packing cubes, if you like to, have a large item in the bottom of the main compartment or something like that. It just depends how you pack. So if you've made it this far, I think you know whether or not this pack is for you. And I'm also curious to see how you guys would use this as opposed to how I used it. So there you have it, the Matador SEG28. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.